first phase is that I've just started to touch on is faith. Faith. Faith is connected to timing, and timing is connected to patience. Okay, faith sees things as if they are right now. Understanding and wisdom is going to begin to teach you that you have no control over time. And you have no control over God's design of when things are going to be. Now, this is the difficult part. We have to believe as if it was about to happen, but at the same time, we have to be patient as if you don't care when it happens. Do you guys get what I just said? We have to believe as though everything depended on it happening right now, tomorrow, next week, whatever that looks like. But we have to be patient, understanding that we don't have any control over the outcome. That is 100% in God's hands. What we do have control over is believing. Does this make sense? So remember David? David was in the pit. I patiently waited for the Lord. I didn't complain. I didn't have a tantrum with God in the pit. I patiently waited for the Lord. I wasn't upset that he came too late. I patiently waited for the Lord. I didn't start complaining, thinking, God, you haven't heard me, you're ignoring me, what sin have I done? Well, maybe sometimes we need to think that, but what sin have I done can definitely cause God to not listen at times. If you know the scriptures, you'll know that that's actually the truth. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back on track because you guys are freaking out on that. I patiently waited for the Lord. He inclined and heard my cry, and he came and lifted me up out of the pit in God's timing. Can I tell you something? If God had to come to get Joseph out of the prison, do you guys know that Joseph, the great dreamer, was actually stuck in a prison for 14 years? After he was falsely accused by a woman who tried to seduce him, after he was actually bought as a piece of property, after he was in a caravan of traders, after he was thrown in a pit and sold by his brothers to that caravan. Joseph had a rough life, but then just before that, after that, if we're going backwards, he had a dream. Oh. See, the thing is, the dream is great, but the journey will change you. Guys, we don't understand the journey, and if we did, some of us would actually say, I don't want to be a part of this, God. Listen to me, I told this to someone recently. If you have a great call, you have a great journey ahead, and that journey is going to change you, and on the other side, a lot of you is not going to be there. I told you it was an encouraging message. Come on, guys. This is exciting. It actually is exciting. Guess what? Because if God wants to take something like you can ask people that have known me for 10 years, or my wife's known me like about 15 years now. Yeah, about 15 years. If you knew me 15 years ago and I walked in here, the other me walked in here, you'd be like, ooh, dude, this is blowing. You know what? It's not that I've become eloquent and educated. It's that part of me has died. Do you understand? Yes. And guess what? It's been a journey that's caused that to happen. Because everyone loves the vision and the dream, but no one wants the price. And the price is what causes you to be great. Don't you know that after God had that encounter with Gideon, Gideon was very smart. He actually did some fleece stuff. You guys know the story. He was like, God, I'm going to test you. Thou shalt not test the Lord thy God. He's like, I'm not going to test you. I'm just going to have a questionnaire. So he just does this fleece thing, which actually, in my book, I talk about the wisdom of Gideon. Because here's the thing, guys. This is where a lot of Christians go wrong. They think they hear God, and they get excited because faith is now. And then they go running off in a direction that God never even called them to run. And they're like, I thought God was in this, and God was never, ever in it. See, we have to understand, faith understands clarity. It actually gets to the bottom to make sure that what it's heard is actually God. It double checks, it tests, it verifies. And then it starts to understand the timing. Well, God, the timing, I can kind of see that it could potentially be in 5 years, but maybe it's in 20. There's words that God's spoken to me, guys, that I know are 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years away. Because I've started to understand this timing thing with God. And you start to understand that, God, I can see that that could be awesome. But I know, part of me in faith sees that I could step into that now and try and wing it. Or maybe even do well at it. But maybe there's a part of my life that's not dead yet that would destroy that thing. Do you understand that? And so God is going to take you on a journey. You see, after that moment where he did all that stuff, Gideon was actually taken through a little journey himself. Because everyone always listens to, he went and he destroyed everyone on the Midianites. But no one pays attention to that he was the least. So he was the runt of the clan. And their clan was the weakest in all of Israel. God actually took him and he went on a journey. He actually went up to the high places and God had him. This is by God's instruction. And guess what his first task was after that encounter? To tear down all the idols. The first thing that God's going to do after he speaks to you is he's actually going to come after you. And he's going to tear down idols in your life. Do you understand that? Some of the ones that you don't even recognize as idols because they're furniture. You know, I like that old chair. It's just been, my grandma gave me that chair. It's been in our family for so long. Little chairs in the corner going whoosh. Does this make sense? You see, God is actually going to, he's interested in the destination, and we love the appeal to greatness because you were made for greatness. Every human being has this thing where they feel like Superman or Superwoman because you were actually made to be great. Everyone. Not just, that's that one preacher or that one worship. No, it's everybody. You have the DNA of the Father. How could you not be? Do you understand? But there's stuff in you that's immature or broken or dysfunctional or wounded or completely wrong mindset. And actually God is going to, God's so smart. He invites you with this amazing brochure. He's like, I've called you to be a prophet to the nations. Look, it's amazing. And you're like, whoa. And I get frequent flyer points too. This is amazing. Yes, God, yes, 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 you can have it all. God's like, awesome. Let me take you up to the high places of your life. And then, so we have this moment where we're just like, I am called for greatness. And the sun and the moon shall bow down and kiss my feet. And so shall my brothers. You get what I'm saying? So it's what Joseph did. Joseph had that moment. So did Gideon. Even though he was dissing God, he's like, yeah, God's here talking to me. And he's calling me great. I'm trying to be humble right now, God. You know what I mean? But then from that place, God then's like, hey, just hold my hand. We're going to go on a little walk. Because the one thing God didn't tell you is he didn't, and he never tells you when. We assume when. And that is one of our greatest downfalls as human beings, is that we assume the when. Listen to me. God has not changed his mind. Everything he said to you is valid. Everything he said to you is still up for grabs. It is a promise that you can take to the bank better than any bond, better than any title deed. It is for real. The problem is that when we misinterpret or assume the time frame,